The students of Sunshine Elementary School are arranged in a solid square array on the playground, with equal space between rows and columns. It is known that the outermost layer of the square consists of boys, followed by a layer of girls, and then boys again, and so on until the innermost layer. If the total number of boys is 50 more than the total number of girls, then how many students are there in total? Now let's see. In this question, it tells us first in the outermost layer, they are boys. And then in the next layer, so they are girls. And next, when we move on to another part, if we go inside again, then there are boys again. So we use blue color to represent it. And the next it is girls. So it will be boys, girls, and the boys and girls in turn. Altogether, we know there are 50 more boys than girls. To get this question, because we only know one number, so we need to find the relationship between difference between two adjacent layers and how many layers are there. First, if we want to form a square array, so we can first get what is the difference between two sides really easily. If there is only one circle in the first layer on one side, then to form another layer, at least on one side, we need to have two more. Because first we need the same number as the previous one, then on the left and right side, we need one more for each. So altogether, the difference on a side between two adjacent sides is 2. And for a layer, because one layer has 4 sides, so except for the square array, in the innermost 2 layers, the difference is 7. For the other kind of square array and for the other layers, difference between sides is 2. And because one layer has 4 sides, so the difference between two adjacent layers is always 8, except for the two innermost layer of odd square array. Because for the innermost side, there is only one thing. That's why that is the only special case. If that is an even square array, for the innermost layer, there are 2 by 2 square. You can draw it out to check it really quickly. The difference between the innermost two is still 8. Now let's see. After we know the difference between two adjacent layers is always 8, the total difference is 55. If we group two adjacent layers, so you can see the difference is always 8. Let's check how many differences are there. By dividing 55 by 8, it is equal to, great, so 6, remaining 7. And second, you can see that when the remainder is 7, that means between the innermost layer, the difference is 7. In this case, we can know it must be odd square array. And the second, except for this, there are 6 groups of 2 layers, so altogether there should be 7 times 2 equals 14 layers. After we know there are 14 layers, then you can see for the odd square array, in the innermost layer, there is only one shape on one side, and the difference between two adjacent sides is always 2. So when we know there are 14 layers, we can get how many students are there in the on one side of the outermost layer is like this. It should be 1 plus 2 times 14 minus 1. Actually, that is just the arithmetic sequence. The difference between two adjacent sides is always 2. And then, when we know how many students are there on one side of the outermost layer, to get how many students are there in the square array in total, we just need to multiply 27 by 27. It is equal to 729. So in this case, we can get here should be 729 students in total. That's how we solve this one. When we just know the difference between the two groups of students, we need to find the relationship between layers and the difference. And the second, the what kind of square array it is, the size depends on what is the remainder after we do the division. Hope you can get it. There are too many steps, and it is really long. We need to think it in a really logical and a serious way.